Welcome to Recovering Addict. My name is Jake and I am a recovering substance user. I have a lot of experience with various issues, substance abuse, trauma, domestic violence, bullying, and there's a lot. There's a lot there, but then I also have a lot of experience in counseling, recovery, exercise, and all of the brighter points of life. Tonight we're going to continue our journey in The Connected Child, a book about TBRI, trust-based relational intervention, written by Karen Purvis and David Cross. I always like to give, where's my bookmark? Oh, son of a bitch, my bookmark's gone. Oh, damn. There it is. Bookmark. I always like to give a little caveat, a little introduction. It is a book written for, I'm hoping that the chat will be able to remind me what page we were on. I remember there was some gags about starting on a specific page and not having enough for chicken nuggets. Respect, using words. Okay, gentleness and kindness. Oh, good evening, Claiborne. Spray Shack, how are you? That's a new one. But it is a system of parenting targeting foster children, adoptive children, international adoptions, but children who have histories of trauma, abuse, and neglect, but things that are not so understood, such as stressful pregnancy, early hospitalization, and oh, then my goodness, what was the sixth one? Stressful pregnancy, early hospitalization, I can't remember. It's gone. But I like to. I'll remember it. I remember it because I know that there are 6, and I've listed 5. But I like to read this because children from hard places, as addicts, we may have neglected or abused our children without realizing during our addictions. But first, I wanted to, before I got into the book, I had some situations today that really put me in a headspace thinking about accountability, about control, and about pausing when agitated. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about that first. So on page 87 in the Alcoholics Anonymous big book, I don't know if I gave the page number, page 87, there at the bottom, it says, as we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful and ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer running the show. Humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, thy will be done. We are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange our life to suit ourselves. It works, it really does. We alcoholics and addicts are undisciplined. So we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined. Okay, that's out of context. So we tend to be control freaks. That's why we would resort to alcohol, because we could control how much we drank. We could control how many drugs we did. We could control the people around us with our substance use. And I'm learning on so many levels that I don't control anything. I don't control anything. I can't control other people. I don't want to. Like that's really that's a big thing. You know, if this person would just behave, then everything would be keen, you know, and that's, you know, as the book refers to it as being the director, you know, being the director, being the actors, being the writer and the producer and the stagehand and all of these things, where we just need to focus on ourselves and not let other people and their behaviors detrimentally affect us. So pause when agitated. I was very agitated earlier. I had numerous things that I could have said, and they would have been amazing. To me, I would have found it very amazing. But I knew that the situation, that was not the appropriate course of action. So I took a deep breath. I focused on what I could control, and that was myself and the mute button in the video conference that I was a part of. So I just feeling emotionally drained right now, and here I am. I'm talking to all of you, beautiful people, all 8 of you, and yeah, ego, accountability, control, acceptance. That's a big thing. I like to read this one. Acceptance. You know, that I had to work on acceptance earlier, as well as, you know, taking that breath and pausing when I was annoyed. So, page 417 in the big book, 4th edition. And acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact of my life unacceptable to me. And I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it is supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing, happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Until I could accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world as on what needs to be changed in me and in my attitudes. So today was yet another lesson. It was another awakening. It was another eye-opener for me. And I thought I was a little bit further along, but my internal emotional states told me otherwise. So that was sort of humbling. So if anyone in the chat has anything to add on pausing when agitated, I know Merck always has fantastic things to say. LT, Michelle, Hapel, Levine, Martin. Please feel free to comment. So I will move into the connected child now. I do believe Mark. Come on, Mark. Mark. There's your door. There's the door, Mark. Come on. It's open for you. It's open. You say that every time you get invited to come on this stream. Come on, dude. You did the venture forward. Are you too good for a recovering addict? Come on now. Haveth thy word. So, there you have it. Merk Stalinsky, trademark, said that we have his word, he will come on the stream. So next Thursday, we will be having a special guest, Merk Stalinsky. He can share his story. I just got a guest for next Thursday's stream. Excellent work. Good job, Merk. And remember, you gave us our word. Your word. Right there. And it's on YouTube forever. So, the header for this section of the book is called Gentleness and Kindness. I'm not sure if I've read this already, but that's where I'm going to start because I remember reading parents should use words too, but few of them. Many at-risk adopted children don't understand how to modulate their own behaviors. They cannot distinguish between a shout or a whisper, a rough touch or a soft touch, a mean facial expression or a soft facial expression. Coaching and showing a child how to be kind and gentle help overcome these issues. This script begins by heightening the child's self-awareness so he or she can self-regulate better. It also guides the child to have empathy and respect for other creatures. So, just to backtrack just a little bit and talk about scripts for those who may or may not be joining for the first time this evening. A script is a short phrase designed specifically per child to express a large meaning while minimizing the word usage, because most times a child's brain who has been through, the six, just through trauma, through something that, they tend to struggle to process a lot of words. Their linguistic processing is sort of depleted, deteriorated. And, over time, that is another thing that we hope to assist children with, is developing that language processing, that emotional expression, things of that nature. So a script can be as simple as pause. It can be as simple as, let me see those eyes. Would you like to redo that? Perhaps with respect. What's another one? Okay, they're occupied. Things like that. So one way to practice this script is by letting your child handle a puppy. Before the child is permitted to touch or hold the animal, a parent demonstrates how it's done. Show how to pet with the grain of the fur, touching gently but firmly, and how to cradle the puppy. We need to be kind and gentle with animals, says the parent. See how I use a kind and gentle touch. This can be demonstrated by the parent stroking the child's arm gently. Now you try being kind and gentle. When the child tries, his or her effort should be praised. When ready, the child can touch the puppy with supervision. As he or she does it correctly, the parent says, "Great being kind and gentle with the puppy." Interesting. The next heading, consequences. Children need to be introduced to the concept of consequences as part of learning to make good choices. This can be done simply and within the context of teaching other life values. For example, you can talk to your child about the negative consequences of treating a puppy harshly. Prompt your little one to brainstorm with you. Some of the consequences would be it won't like you, it won't come to you, it will run away from you, and it might bite you. Or you might discuss the positive consequences of treating a kitten with respect and gentleness. The kitten will purr, it will like you, and it will trust you, are some possibilities. For example, making eye contact is the next header. An excellent way to connect with your child is through eye contact. Getting children in the habit of looking us in the eye increases their focus, learning, and interpersonal connection. At-risk children tend to resist eye contact for a variety of reasons: sensory defensiveness, deep depression, cultural taboos, or previous traumas that still induce fear. Don't rush a fearful child toward this goal, but with practice, you can help overcome his or her fears. Ramel Dyer makes a good point. That's I always enjoy that. That's nice. Like, instead of wrong answer, try again is less negative. Like, I absolutely agree. I believe that when working with people, approaching them from a more positive angle, it helps a lot. Like, just to step into fitness a little bit, I do not enjoy the idea of a cheat meal. The idea of just the phrase cheat insinuates that you're doing something wrong. There is that negative connotation that comes along with the word cheat. So I enjoy earned meal. You can have a pizza, you can have a cheeseburger, you can, whatever it is that's outside of your meal plan, by all means, eat that and enjoy it. Make sure that you earned it. Like 5 days, 6 perfect meals of whatever your meal plan is, or whatever your dietary goals are, and then have a pizza. You've earned it. You see, it feels different. It feels different because a cheat meal, to me, you're sitting in like a dimly lit corner, like eating a bowl of ice cream. Oh god, and you just don't feel that great because you're cheating. You're cheating on your diet, where you've earned that bowl of cereal, almost ice cream. I said oatmeal, and I'm fucking up. Like it feels better because you put in the work to, be able to enjoy that ice cream. And I know that this is a very generalized example. Like, some people don't think about the language, but it's at the store, Merc. That's where the pizza is. It's at the store. So, oh, you're welcome, Michelle. Absolutely. Like, this is what I try to do. Here are some simple ways to encourage eye contact. Move your head into the child's field of vision. Briefly, stop speaking. The pause will pique his curiosity or concern, and he will typically look up at you. Say something using his name in the context of a sentence. Ask for eye contact directly with such phrases as, "Let me see those lovely eyes," or "Let's see those beautiful green eyes." Yeah, look at that. Woo! Woo! I pronounced a foreign name correctly. I don't know if it's that foreign. It's foreign to me. But yes, excitement. Confidence enhancements. I hate the look on their face when they think they failed even the smallest tasks. And kudos to the name pronunciation. Fantastic. And I agree. Like, I don't, so, like, I'm right there with you. I encourage mistakes. Learning opportunities. I encourage learning opportunities. So if he physically moves away, playfully move back into his field of vision. The next header, listening and obeying. Parents are the authority in a family, and children are expected to respond to their instructions. You should not have to scream or yell to gain your child's cooperation. Instead, you should calmly remind her to listen and obey. Once your child cooperates, praise her and remind her of what she did well. Say good listening and obeying. You can help your child practice obedience at calm times by playing games such as Simon Says. And we're familiar with Simon Says. In this game, any instruction that starts with the phrase Simon Says is followed, and all other instructions are ignored. This game can be varied to have the child mimic behavior, such as Simon Says, take a giant step back, or Simon Says, clap your hands. Speak such as Simon Says, count to 5, or even do facial expressions, such as Simon Says, copy mommy's funny expression. Give your child a turn at giving the commands. Another way to playfully reinforce this message is with a game called Stop and Go. Your child runs, walks around, or rides a tricycle or bike until you shout, stop. At that sound, your child must quit moving and remain frozen until you say go. This game teaches your little boy or girl to respond to a vocal command even when in a physical frenzy. Praise your child for responding quickly. Many people watch on replay too, Jay. Oh, and if you're catching this on the replay, thank you, and I'm happy you're here. Authority, or who's the boss, is the next header. The more unpredictable and out of control your child's world was during his first months or years of life, the more controlling his behavior typically is as he gets older. So we often see children from impoverished backgrounds trying to take charge of their families. When a child starts getting bossy or tries to take control of a situation, it's time to remind him of his role. You don't have to get into a big negotiation or discussion, just say adults are in charge. You hear that, kids? Adults are in charge. Ignored. Just 100% ignored. Alternatively, you can ask, who's the boss here? Are you the boss? Once your child acknowledges that he isn't in charge, you can say, that's right. Parents are the boss. Probably with less attitude. Like, that's right. Parents are the boss. It's not your job to tell the other children what to do. Deep down, understanding that a parent is in charge can be of great comfort to formerly neglected or abused children, who themselves had to be self-reliant too young because their first caretakers were not up to the job. Next header, with permission and supervision. Obviously, a child must not run out into the street unattended, or use kitchen equipment unsupervised, or take it upon herself to do any number of other activities inappropriate for a youngster. To reinforce the concept that your child needs to turn to safe adults for guidance, use the phrase, with permission and supervision. For example, you might allow your little girl to help you make a milkshake and allow her to participate. You could guide her with instructions. Wait until I turn off the machine here. Then when I say ready, touch this green button and count to 10 while the blender mixes your milkshake. After 10, touch this red button and turn it off. Then you could count to 10 with her and prompt her to follow directions. The next header is accepting no. Although we try to meet a child's needs consistently and say yes to many of his needs, sometimes we must disappoint the child. For many children, hearing the word no sends them into spasms of misbehavior. A great way to interrupt that downward spiral before it becomes a meltdown is to quickly, before he even has a chance to throw a tantrum, compliment the child. Wow, what a great job of accepting no. Use this technique sparingly because it is challenging and makes a child really stretch. Accepting no will be easier for your child to tolerate if the majority of the time he receives genuine positive feedback from you. It's best to use corrective approaches like accepting no infrequently. and only after your trust account with the child has a high balance. We explore this strategy further in chapter 6. So Ingrid, I was going to read that. Ingrid, if my kids get discouraged trying to do something, I say, "Hey, this is totally normal, kids. You are learning and growing, and mistakes are sometimes part of it." They seem relieved when I say that. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's good. That's good. Learning opportunities. You know, it also teaches us self-motivation to overcome, I think. And that's pretty cool. That's cool. When you see, like, when you start seeing your kids, oh, they're struggling with something. Oh, I don't know. And then boom, like they continue. They continue. Like it's great. It's a real treat. Hey baby, you wanna come say hi to the internet? This is Drake. This is my baby. He's 8 years old. Hello you. You done with Prodigy?
No.
No? Ooh, excellent. Get some extra math facts today. Requesting whole sentences is the title of the next header. Your goal is to teach your child communication skills that everybody understands. So as your child becomes more proficient at using words, you can up the ante by requesting full sentences. Whenever it seems appropriate, you can encourage him or her by saying, "Give me a whole sentence, sweetie." For example, when your little girl comes home from school and says, "Snack," you might clarify by saying, "Do you want a snack?" "Yeah," replies the child. "Can you ask me using a whole sentence?" "Can I have a snack?" "Great, using a whole sentence. Yes, you can have a snack. You may have a choice. You can have a banana with peanut butter or a granola bar. Which do you choose?" The next header is offering choices. "Glad to see you feeling better tonight, Jake." And hello, Drake. Well, hello, Petey. Yes, I'm feeling much better tonight. For those of you who aren't aware, my family tested positive for COVID last week.
Yay.
And so we've been on a quarantine since that positive result came back. So it was a pretty hellish ride there for a few days. Went through a whole string of emotions, a couple of gallons of water, a little bit of nausea. I did not lose my sense of smell, though. Fortunately, I enjoyed being able to keep that. I enjoyed keeping my sense of taste, and yeah. So, even sick with COVID, I'm doing live streams just because that's how important you people are. That's how important this entire situation is to me, to be able to sit here and share this information so that I can, if I assist any of you, even in the slightest, and you enjoy some success, you're able to watch your children grow and heal. Like I've done my job. I'm satisfied. Like I have my favorite phrase when I'm reading this book is heal the child, stop the addict. I feel that if we can teach our children emotional regulation and the necessary life skills to overcome their individual issues, that we can potentially save them an enormous amount of grief by just You know, maybe our children won't pick up a drink. Maybe our children won't end up, you know, mixing up shots of fucking dope. Excuse me, mixing up shots of dope with rainwater. You know, like that, I know that's an extreme example, but I feel like if we can heal our children, then maybe we can prevent those types of behaviors from becoming a reality in the future, especially with the current state of the world. You know, that is of great concern for many. Uh, so the next header is offering choices. Children feel empowered and more in control of their environments when they have choices. It is a good idea to limit their choices to 2 or 3 specific options so their reasoning and decision-making capabilities are not overtaxed. These modest choices allow children to exercise appropriate levels of control, even while you remain ultimately in charge. Like I like to give compromises and choices. You know, it's helped quite a bit. You know, build that trust, build that relationship, while also empowering my children into you know, making some of their own decisions. So, for example, your 6-year-old boy might refuse to put away his toys before bed. You can hold up a hand near the child's face and put up fingers to signify the 2 choices. You explain, holding up just one finger now. You may put away your toys first and then take a bath. Or, holding up 2 fingers now, you may take a bath first and then put away your toys. Which do you choose? Which do you choose? The next header, focus and complete your task. Early deprivation and abuse can make a child anxious and leave attention deficits that make it difficult for him to concentrate. As a child feels increasingly safe, see chapter 4, he'll be better equipped to pay attention. Stand by. Just a moment. I need to send a link. Oop, better pause that so we don't get feedback. So, you can also help your child pay attention by using gentle reminders to redirect his focus onto an assigned task. For example, if instead of putting his shoes on, as you asked earlier, you find little Harry playing on the floor with his toys, you can calmly say, "Harry, what was your task, son?" If he is unable to recall, you may have to prompt by saying, "You need to put on your shoes." Pause. "Harry, focus and complete your task." You may need to patiently repeat, "Focus and complete your task." You may need to a few times before the task gets finished. A goal of this direction is to help children internalize the ability to stay on task. More life values from Theraplay is the next header. Theraplay. Interesting. We particularly like 3 life values promoted by the Theraplay Institute, a Chicago-based international not-for-profit organization. This group trains mental health professionals in an interactive and nurturing method designed to help at-risk youngsters. Cornerstones of their approach for groups are captured in the phrases "no hurts," "stick together," and "have fun." This short phrase is easy even for small, no hurts. Okay, now it's giving us a little breakdown of those 3, approaches, phrases. So, no hurts. This short phrase is easy, even for small children to understand, and echoes other life values such as showing respect and being kind and gentle. For example, if a little girl yanks her sister's hair, you can physically intercept her and say firmly, "No hurts." This phrase refers equally to no hurts on the inside by saying mean or insulting things, and no hurts on the outside by hitting or injuring things or people. This is an especially important lesson for children with a history of harm. Yeah, yeah. I encounter lots of children that have these types of issues in my day to day. Some of them are nieces and nephews. Others are, friends' children. Um, so it's interesting. It's interesting. So the next phrase is stick together. The concept of working together as a team or a family will be unfamiliar to many children who grew up feeling that they had to fend for themselves in a forbidding world. Verbalizing and demonstrating that families stick together is an important reminder of connectedness and helps counteract alienation. This phrase can also be used to combat indiscriminate friendliness. If your small child has made her way across the playground and now has her hand on a stranger's leg, you'd quickly approach the child, perhaps put your arm around her, and gently say, "Stick with mommy." Later, you could do stranger practice together, as explained in Chapter 9. Excuse me. So the next phrase, have fun. There's no better way to cement learning or the lesson of joyous family relationships than by sharing a good time. In Chapter 8, we'll explain a similar strategy, which we call playful engagement. Essentially, it involves creating situations that allow you and your child to interact playfully and productively. Fun is the sweetness of building a relationship. We try to stress with children that you first need the values of no hurts and to stick together in order to have fun. You can't have the third value, fun, without those first two. The next header reads values for parents. The scripts explained in this chapter offer a standard vocabulary of guiding at-risk children. They're a kind of shorthand for conveying important life lessons. As parents, you can't just recite these phrases, you have to model and embody them for your child consistently. A strong role model makes the best teacher, so lead by example, basically. I'd like to recommend, so after we read this next section, I do have another book recommendation. Be a rock steady leader. You can be strong and decisive and yet still allow your child to have some control over his or her life, such as having the opportunity to choose between options you have selected. Remember that when a child starts acting wild, it's a symptom of the child's own history, including inner neurochemistry and neurological impairments. At-risk children are simply trying to get their needs met and don't yet understand the proper way to do that. They need a great deal of guided practice to succeed. By remaining calm and in control of yourself, you'll be in the best position to handle upsets effectively and guide your child toward better behavior. By controlling ourselves and letting the child practice appropriate supervised control, the child ultimately becomes empowered to use self-control. So, now that we're talking about leadership, there is a book by Jocko Willink. It's called Extreme Ownership. Some of you may have heard of it. How the U.S. Navy SEALs lead and win. And in this is a book that I've listened to a couple of times, and I've also listened to the follow-up, The Dichotomy of Leadership, a couple of times as well. And I realized, I listened to Extreme Ownership because I listened to a podcast that had Jocko on it. And I realized that my family's failing was my fault. Like, I wasn't the leader that my family needed me to be. And as the head of my household, I had to accept that failing on my part. And so I listened to this book, and I implement the principles in Jocko's extreme ownership daily. Daily. It talks about accountability. It talks about communication. It talks about when to mentor, when to fire, leading up the chain, leading down the chain. Just really tried and true methods for leaders, whether it's in the Battle of Ramadi, whether it's in the business world, managing a department somewhere, or somewhere a little bit more domestic, like your home, your kitchen, your living room, within your family. Whether that family is in the same house with you, or your siblings and your parents, and all of that stuff. It really is a game changer, and I will post that in the La Biblioteca channel and Discord after the podcast. But it was an excellent book, and it changes your life. Plus, if you do enjoy hearing stories about combat, military combat, like, there are numerous examples for each of the principles that are described in the book, both on the front lines of the Battle of Ramadi over in Afghanistan, as well as on the front lines in various businesses. They change some of the details, the dates, the names, to protect people's identity, and to be in line with the Pentagon's confidentiality. So, excellent book. I highly recommend it to everybody. Just read it, live it. Your life will improve. Like, it's changed my life. I huge fan of the military. Anyway, when I lift weights, I have Navy SEALs in my head screaming at me to do one more rep or run another mile. So we will come back to our book. Listen actively and reinforce connections. Demonstrate that your child's thoughts and feelings are important by looking in his or her eyes and paying attention when your child speaks. Attentive, active listening.
Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Can you give me a glass of water, please?
Yeah.
Thank you, baby. Attentive, active listening helps a child feel secure and model appropriate behavior. It demonstrates how your child should listen and look at you when you speak. It can be helpful to take your child's hand gently and/or kneel down to eye level while you speak. Make steady eye contact to show your availability and receptiveness. Next header goes, give as much support as your child needs. In psychology, there is a concept called scaffolding. Here we go. Which describes the ideal way to help a child learn a new task or activity. At first, the child will need a great deal of support, so we assist and coach and encourage in every way possible. Thank you, baby. I was feeling a little parched. As the child learns and begins to master that new skill, our support is slowly withdrawn to appropriate levels. As the child advances, we introduce more challenging goals, repeating the same scaffolding pattern, giving intensive support and encouragement that is only slowly reduced to match the child's skill level and need. A familiar example of this is learning to walk. A toddler needs the help of two adults to get on his feet for the first time. Once propped up this way, he begins to feel the same sensations of balancing. He begins to feel the sensation blah, 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 of balancing and may take a tentative step with aid. Soon, he needs only one helping hand. Little by little, the child can stand without any supporting hands and tries to take a wobbly step alone. After a step or two, he falls and crawls back to his parents, who applaud his effort. With time and practice, the child will be walking and running unaided. With your child, support may be required longer for certain tasks. That's okay. Little by little, as he succeeds, you'll be able to pull back and let your child achieve greater autonomy. Your role is to help your child succeed and move forward on the path to functioning independently. Next header, match the child's behavior. As we mentioned before, one of the building blocks of attachment is matching between parent and child. Matching occurs when the pair behaves in synchrony, mirroring each other's actions, sounds, and eye contact. Matching can be an effective tool for establishing relationships with your child, in part because it offers companionship and a feeling of safety. Matching helps bring an adult into the world of the child, ultimately empowering the child to come into the world of the adult. Look for opportunities to match your child. You can do that by getting down to eye level, even sitting on the floor. For example, if the child is leaning back on his hands, you can do the same. If the child is sitting cross-legged, you can do the same. Get to her level and mimic the child's position. If your child is looking at a picture, book, or puzzle, then do the same. Eventually, you'll be able to make direct eye contact, looking softly into each other's eyes. You can match with phrases, sounds, and vocal inflections too. If your child is whispering, try whispering in response. If your child uses distinctive playful phrasing, you can pattern your phrasing the same playful way. The child will begin to show delight at being mirrored and spontaneously will engage in the dance of matching with you. Matching is the beginning of a powerful connection which can become the vehicle for healing. And I agree, banana with peanut butter is awesome. Put it in oatmeal with some honey as well. Just add just little concoction there. You know, you got about 60 grams of carbohydrates and all the other proteins and everything. Wonderful. Next heading, encourage the positive. Lavish your child with praise and encouragement at any opportunity you can. If you spot a semblance of appropriate behavior, comment on it enthusiastically. Reinforce each positive message with a warm, genuine voice and corresponding body language. Building your child's self-esteem by recognizing what she does right is immensely important to her healing and learning. Give your time, attention, and value is the next header. When a youngster has attachment problems, that child doesn't recognize the core importance of relationships. But when a child knows that he is valued and special to us as an individual, he can begin to blossom and become attached. The best way we show a child we value him is by playing with him and giving him our undivided attention. You can also show our appreciation with phrases such as, "What a precious child you are." Before speaking to your child or giving instructions, stop what you are doing and move to within 3 feet of the little one. Then say what you need to. Don't lob words at him or her across the room while you're rushing about. You won't build deep interpersonal connections from a distance or while hurtling around like a runaway train. Once physical needs for clothing, food, and shelter are met, it's far more beneficial to share activities together than to give a child gifts and be stingy with time. By giving children our focus and time, we demonstrate their value and plant the seeds of caring relationships. Excellent. Look, and now we're on chapter 6. You are the boss. And I believe we will stop there tonight. See what I can manage here. I am feeling much better, Epi. Thank you. Let's address the chat. Hello, Epi. And then here's Leslie, another vote in favor of peanut butters and bananas. Don't know where Mad is and why she thinks that's gross. I am feeling better, Epi, much better. I'm a little tired right now, but that's nothing new for Thursday night. And I'm not sure. I believe that was a story. I would imagine that he very well could have. And then peanut butter and honey, absolutely, with oatmeal. Put it in your oatmeal. It's fantastic. So, how much time do we have? 5 minutes. So, what was that other thing? I was looking up something. So just to cycle back to the beginning of the hour, let's see. Oh, goodness. I like this. So this is page 41. I'm not sure if this, I think this is the 12 by 12. Yeah, this is out of the 12 by 12. Page 41, talking about step 3. And let's see. So it is when we try to make our will conform with God's that we begin to use it rightly. To all of us, this was a most wonderful revelation. Our whole trouble had been the misuse of willpower. We had tried to bombard our problems with it instead of attempting to bring it into agreement with God's intention for us. Like, I'm reading slow because everything is super blurry without my glasses. To make this increasingly possible is the purpose of AA's 12 steps, and step 3 opens the door. Now, this is what I wanted to read. I just wanted to give a little bit of context. So, once we have come into agreement with these ideas, it is really easy to begin the practice of step 3. In all times of emotional disturbance or indecision, we can pause, ask for quiet, and in the stillness, simply reply, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not mine, be done. And like, that's wonderful, and I snuck the serenity prayer in there for you. So absolutely, amen. So for those who are showing up late, I opened the podcast with Pause When Agitated, a discussion about control and about accountability and about just acceptance I read 417, that paragraph out of the big book, fourth edition, that I turn to a lot. I turn to like frequently, since that paragraph was read to me months ago. Like that's been my go-to when I am confronted with stuff that I don't agree with and that I find upsetting. And so I just it's really it's a lot. But like that is my favorite paragraph out of the entire damn book. Was that acceptance paragraph? But like I got a friend of mine, Zazumbo. Shout out to Soar, Zazumbo, Matt Zazumbo. He and I know that he didn't come up with it, but he's the one that introduced me to this one. Is the I can't, he can, and I think I'll let him. And that's been a big one for me as well. In addition to the pause when agitated and the acceptance is the answer to all things. So I just wanted to close where I began this evening with just that pause when agitated and then all of that stuff. So until next stream, don't put yourself in high-risk situations. Stay strong, work your program, and remember, we recover better together.